Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And this is a channel where you can learn English in a better way. So, I have been thinking of starting a podcast, primarily an audio podcast, where I will be talking about different things related to English communication skills, and you can listen to it and learn the language. So, in today's podcast, this is the first episode. So, let's talk about the very basics of learning English. I'm going to talk about the language skills today. Language skills, okay. If we just try to understand these two words, this particular phrase, language skills, what is it? So, see, there is something called education, right? Education. We have different kinds of education systems across the world. We go to schools, we go to colleges and universities to learn, right? Learn different things. Language, science, arts. We learn about our society in social sciences. We learn about many other things, be it fashion designing or the aviation or engineering or medicine. Every kind of knowledge is there. So we generally go to the schools. These places are also called schools, right? School of medical sciences, school of social sciences. These types of phrases are there in universities and all the places of learning. So we can understand that we go to these institutions, be it a school or a college or a university, to gain something. What is that? That is knowledge. But there is another aspect to it, which is skill. Sometimes we attend these institutes to make ourselves more skilled in a particular thing. Now, this brings us to this distinction: knowledge and skill. Are these two things same or different? What do you think? Please pause the audio or the video and comment down in the comment section. Okay, and then come back to the audio or the video and start listening again and see whether you were correct in the comment or not. So no, these two things are not the same. See, knowledge is basically related to ideas, information, okay, and other things. While skill is an ability. So how to differentiate the two? While knowledge is something that you can gain by reading books, skill is something that you can't attain by reading books, but you can do it, you can attain it by working on something, by doing something, right? So it is more of an active process method with which you can get skilled. In the past few decades, there has been an increase in the popularity of professional courses, be it the BTech or BBA, MBA, we have MBBS, we have several other courses, from paramedical courses to the law courses to the teaching courses. All these courses are professional courses, while there are general degree courses also, like BA, like BSc, we have BCom. So while general degree courses help us to gain knowledge, deep knowledge in a particular subject, the skill oriented courses, the professional courses, help us attain a particular skill, and in this case some professional skills with which we can do something in a better way. So let's go back to our primary point of discussion today: language skills. While language has an aspect which we study at school, the ideas and information part, the literature, we study poems, prose pieces, we study about many other things, sometimes grammatical lessons, but these are concerned with building knowledge base in a student, in a learner. While on the other hand, when we talk about skills, the skills help us to build competency, ability to express ourselves and get the input from others in a particular language. So that is the primary purpose of language skills. Okay. Now there are 4 language skills. Primarily there are 4 language skills that the linguists and the researchers in this field have decided, right? These 4 language skills are, yes, could you guess which are these 4 language skills? Yes, pause the audio and comment down in the comment section. And then check whether you are correct or not. So see, this is very important. While you are learning it, you should interact with this audio or the video that you are watching. See, what happens in today's generation, today's age, is that we watch a lot of content on our smartphones and other digital devices, but we don't really interact with it. But that interaction is extremely necessary, especially in such cases where you are learning something with the help of a device. Okay, so see, the 4 skills are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. These are the 4 skills. Now, we can categorize these skills in a particular order in terms of the amount of importance a skill has when it comes to building the competency in a learner. So we call it LSRW. Listening comes first, the most important skill if you want to learn a language, a new language, of course. Second language or a third language or a foreign language, whatever it is, if you want to learn a new language, you have to listen to that language for as at not at least for sometimes, it's completely up to you. So this is an example that can be given here, that whenever we land on a new land, like in a new country, we don't know the language there, right? It's very difficult for us to communicate with locals. But when we start observing them, when we start observing the words and sentence patterns and other things, then we start learning it. And over time, we learn that language. So, how does that happen? It happens because we learn by observing, and in this case, observation is listening, right? We have to listen as much as possible a new language when we are trying to learn the language. Now, the second skill is, that means speaking. The second most important skill. So when you start listening to something, let's say you are talking with someone, you're interacting with someone, it is quite evident that you will respond to the messages that are being shared. And here comes the importance of speaking, isn't it? And that is why it is extremely important to speak, to express your thoughts. At least you have to try to express your thoughts in a particular language when you are trying to learn it for the first time, or when you are in the primary period of learning it. Now, the third is reading. R. Okay. We have to read in that language. So we can read anything. It's reading does not always mean reading a book. You can read a newspaper. You can even read the hoardings. See, reading means you have to do the activity of reading. That's it. Nowadays we read so much on our phone. We don't realize sometimes, right? There are headings, captions. Mostly when we scroll through the social media, we read a lot of captions, and sometimes there are in text, in video texts, which we have to read while we are watching reels, while we are watching long form or short form videos. There is also this particular activity of reading that is involved. So reading comes at third position, and the next one, the last one, is writing. Now, out of these four skills, though writing is the least important, if we try to understand it with in terms of the category, like the importance category, writing, why does it come at last? Because writing is a very sophisticated skill. When you are good with the other three skills, you can write. Okay. Because writing requires you to learn about the alphabet, the letters in particular. Now, this particular rule of language skills, this particular phenomena is common to all languages of the world. You have a native language. Now, if someone wants to learn your native language, he has to follow the same rule of LSRW. He cannot do away with it. Okay, so that is the interesting part here, that all languages are learned in the same way, but then we fear that this is a difficult language. Well, this is a language that is not easy. that cannot be mastered, we have these conceptions in mind. So these conceptions are nothing to be worried about. Rather, we should try to learn a language playfully. Okay. So another thing that I want to emphasize here is that out of these 4 skills, there are 2 pairs, right? And we all are aware of input and output devices when in the context of a computer, aren't we? So when we talk about a computer, there are some input devices through which we put in information into the computer, and the computer gives the output with some other devices, right? We all studied these things in our childhood in computer classes. So similarly, in case of language learning, we have 2 input skills through which we are giving some input into our learning system. So could you tell me which are these input skills and which 2 are the output skills? Yes, again do the same thing. Pause the video and comment down in the comment section, and then check whether you are correct or not as I give out the answers. Okay, so input skills are those with which we give a language input into our own learning system. So listening obviously is an input skill, and reading, because when we are listening, we are getting some information, getting some ideas, some words, some thoughts. We are inputting it, right? When we are reading, again the same thing is happening. Just the sensory medium is different. We are hearing or listening something with our ears, and we are reading something with our eyes. That's the difference. Otherwise, in both these processes, we are inputting some information into our learning system, into our head, into our brain, whatever you consider the learning system to be. Now, the thing that is happening on the other hand is that we are giving output when we are speaking or when we are writing, isn't it? So speaking and writing, these are called the output skills. So till this point we have discussed what is the difference between knowledge and skill. That is the first thing that we discussed, if you remember. Then we talked about the language skill. What is a skill, and then how do we categorize the language skills? What are the language skills? And then we talked about the importance of language skills. How do we categorize it? How do we organize it in order in terms of its importance while learning a new language? And we also talked about input and output skills. These are the 3 main points that we have talked till now. Okay, so now let us look at how can we use the language skills to learn a language in a better way. Specific, how can we learn English in a better way using these 4 language skills? So, see, if you think that you do not have better or good grasp over the language, then I would ask you to Go back to your childhood days, go back to your school days, and try to remember that which skill did the education system or the school curriculum focused on when you were young. Okay. Sometimes it is seen that in many of the vernacular medium schools, many of the regional language schools, English is taught, but English is taught mostly for writing purpose. Okay. There are many objectives like writing a report, writing a letter, like writing an application. These are the primary objectives, and that's why a lot of focus is given on the reading portion, on the reading part, reading skill, developing the reading and writing skill. On the other hand, there are many educational systems where the focus is on speaking the language. It's a phenomenon across the world, okay? So when it comes to speaking the language, the more focus is given on listening. So from these, we get another point. That's out of these input and output skills, the two pairs, there are again two pairs. We can divide it like that. Reading ensures better writing. Better listening ensures better speaking. So most of you who have the objective of speaking the language proficiently, fluently, you have to listen to English more and more and more. And that was one of the primary objectives with which I started this channel, and now I'm starting these podcasts, because if you don't listen to it, if you don't give the listening input into your learning system, how would you be able to speak the language? Therefore, start listening to different English contents. You can listen to the content that is available on my channel also, and these podcasts, because you have to increase your listening input to increase your speaking output. I hope you have understood the points that I have discussed in today's video and audio podcasts. Like, it is not a video podcast, it is an audio podcast, but it is presented as in the form of a video on YouTube. Okay, so I think that's all for this episode. Please stay tuned, subscribe to the channel to get the notifications whenever I upload a new video, a new podcast. I'm planning to be regular with this podcast so that it helps you. But you have to listen to the full podcasts minutely, attentively, so that you can get better English inputs. Bye for today. Thank you so much.